Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Loren Live Thursday. What do we have? 5 days until election. Can you believe it? Did you ever think we'd get here? In 5 short days, we are going to change the course of history in Washington State. With all of your help, we are going to send common sense to Olympia and retire the far left liberal Jay Inslee. Isn't that going to be great? We're going to have one heck of a party, I'll tell you that much. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that day. It's happening. We are leading, not just by a little bit. We have a commanding lead over Jay Inslee. They're scared to death. He just dumped about $4 million into TV commercials over the last week or two because they saw what happened in that debate. They see what's happening all over this state with all this grassroots support from you, from we the people. So they're scared. He's got a lot of big donors that donated to his campaign, and a lot of them through the Democrat Party. But we the people are in charge of this election. So if you have voted, if you've turned in your ballot and dropped it off, please type a response in the comment box that you're done or that you voted. Let me know that you did. And we need to make sure everyone we know, all our friends, all our relatives, our family, everybody, acquaintances, check with them, call them, text them. Did you vote? Did you turn your ballot in? Make sure we get those ballots turned in, you guys. So a couple of things I'm going to talk about tonight. The addiction and the mental health crisis that's going on, otherwise known as the homeless crisis. That's what a lot of politicians and the news media like to call it, a homeless crisis. I'm going to dig in deeper on that. And then let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, food and food security. So let's start with the food security first. There's a lot of farms across Washington State, right? We're a huge agriculture state. A lot of farmers, a lot of ranchers, a lot of orchardists, all across this state. And think back when this virus first started hitting around here, how everybody was swarming the stores, clearing out shelves, especially toilet paper. Remember that? I still don't know what that was about. But having food security, especially in a crisis or in a war or in any kind of emergency, whether it's natural or man-made, food security is very important, right? It gives you a sense of security. Just that's simple. When you know that you can go to your local grocery store or your local farm and get food or milk, it just adds a sense of security. And Washington State, we feed the world. We feed the country. We send grain and fruit and all kinds of products all over the United States. Our ranchers, right? Cattle production. And so having that is very important. And having a stable environment for the farmers, you think about if you were a farmer, or if you are a farmer, I'm sure there's some on here listening tonight. Think about the risks that they take every growing season, starting in the planting season. The risks that they take, the investment that they put in to get the seeds in the ground. And then it's dependent on weather. It's dependent on all kinds of things. The market, right? It just depends on prices. So they've got to make a decision ahead of time. What are they going to plant? How much are they going to plant? So there's a lot of insecurity in being a farmer and being a rancher. You don't have a lot of control over what the prices are, if any at all, of the product that you're going to end up taking to market. So there's a lot of risk to our farmers. There are a ton of family farms all across this state. whether it's up in the Skagit Valley or all the way over to the Idaho border. There are farms and farmers, our agriculture, our ranchers, orchardists everywhere. And I've talked to a lot of them. And having just that insecurity about, the market forces just alone, not knowing what the prices are going to be, that adds a lot of stress. Sometimes it's a good year for farmers, sometimes it's not. But then when you add a layer of government on there, where you have a government agency or agencies like the Department of Agriculture, L&I, and the Department of Ecology, and having a governor that is not farmer friendly doesn't help our food supply, right? That doesn't help our food security for our state or for this nation. So it's important that we eliminate as much as possible that uncertainty with government, right? And I've talked to farmers all over the state, and a big thing that is a problem for them producing food for us, to feed us, is the state agencies, and having a governor who basically weaponizes the state agencies, just like he has done through this virus, fining small businesses $10,000 a day because they don't follow exactly his mandates, his orders, his edicts, and they're trying to make a living. But these departments, they don't have the mentality of, how can I help this business? How can I help this farm? How can I help this meat producer? How can I help them in their business? How can I help them get more food out quicker and in a better way? They don't have that mentality most of the time in this state right now. That's what I'm hearing from farmers and ranchers. The state agencies, the people that come out and deal with the farmers and the ranchers directly and the orchardists, is they have the mentality of what, the inspectors or the people with those agencies, they have the mentality of, what can I do to get to a no? What can I do to find this business, this farm, this rancher, this orchardist? And we need government to help citizens, to help our farmers, and not push towards, how can I get to a no with whatever this farmer wants to do or this rancher, but how can I get to a yes? How can I help this person produce more food for our people, more food for our nation and to send around the world? How can we get to a yes? That's what state agencies and the people that work for those state agencies are going to be doing when I'm governor. They're going to be trying to figure out, how can I make this better for our food source? How can I make this better and get to a yes? Whether it's water, permits, licenses, anything. How can we help our food producers? And that's why I think that the Washington Farm Bureau didn't endorse Jay Inslee, right? He's been governor here for 8 years. And apparently he hasn't been doing a good job, right? Surprise. So the Washington Farm Bureau, guess who they endorsed? Yeah, they endorsed the cult campaign. And that's important. Farmers all across this state know that they need to get government unentangled from their businesses, from their farms, so that they can produce more food for us. And that's very important. You just think back when this pandemic hit and everybody was rushing to the grocery store. It's nice to have locally grown food, our local family farms, to get food. That's one less thing we have to be stressed about. So I'm very happy and thankful for the Farm Bureau's endorsement because I do support our family farms, and we will have departments, agencies in the state government that will help not only family farms, orchardists, and ranchers, but all of our businesses. That's going to be the mentality, the servant role of our government. Not how can we find them, how can we shut them down, but how can we help? How can we get them to a yes? How can we help them to comply with what they have to. So very thankful for that. Think about that, though. Food security, right? We need to support our family farms. We need to go to the farmers markets and support those small farms. Very important. Okay, so the next thing I was going to talk about is this so-called homeless crisis, right? We hear about it all the time. It's not so much on the news anymore because a lot of other things are taking up the news cycle, but this is something that's near and dear to my heart. This is something that I've dealt with on the street level as a police officer, and it saddens me to see what's going on all across our state, with the tent cities and the dirty needles, our parks being taken over and allowed by our government, encouraged by our government. But it's not all about homes like our current governor would like you to think, right? He wants the homeless industrial complex, right? That's what I call it. That's what he wants. He wants millions and millions of dollars going out of taxpayers' pockets for homes. That's not going to solve this problem because it's not all about homes, right? It's an addiction and a mental health crisis that we have in this state. And until we focus on that core issue, we're not going to help those people. If we build a home for everyone that's living on the street right now, and tomorrow morning we wake up and there's nobody on the street, no tent cities, we're going to end up with people dying of overdoses in those buildings. We're going to have people with mental health problems that aren't going to get help. So we need to focus on that core issue, which is the mental health and the addiction. You can go to places, and that's why people have flocked here from all over the country, is because you can go to places like King County, Seattle, and other far left Democrat-run cities in this state and use heroin, use methamphetamine, because the far left says that it's not compassionate to put an addict in jail. Well, that's exactly the opposite of what I found. You can't enable someone to continue doing bad things. If you allow bad behavior, you're going to get more and more bad behavior, and that's what's happening. You can go to King County, Seattle, you can have 7 or 8 grams of heroin on you, and the police will not arrest you because the prosecutors say that it's not compassionate to put an addict in jail. When I was a narcotics detective for about 3 years, we had a zero tolerance policy. If you have residue of heroin in a baggie in Washington State, it's a felony. And we would arrest them. They'd go to jail. They'd see the judge. The judge would give them a choice. They can go to prison or they can go to treatment. And most of them went to treatment. And then a funny thing would happen. They would get their head clear. They'd get out of that fog of the dope. And they would get a job. They would get their kids back. They would get their life back. And they would come and give me a hug and thank me for saving their life. Now, to me, that's compassion, right? Leaving someone stuck in the cycle of addiction on the streets is nothing close to compassion. But that's what the radical left wants to do. Leave them on the streets. That's not helping anyone. The injection sites, tent cities, and enabling people to do bad things is not compassion. It takes tough love. It takes tough love to get someone down the road to recovery. You can't do it on your own. A heroin addict can't wake up one morning and say, I'm just not going to inject any heroin today, or I'm not going to smoke any heroin today. It's a very strong, addictive narcotic. It takes that tough love. It takes a boot in the behind to get people headed down the right path. Leaving them stuck on the street in the cycle of addiction, tent cities, allowing people to live in squalor, in the garbage, the feces, the dirty needles, that's not compassion. That's not humane. There's no greater feeling than having someone come up to you and give you a hug and say thank you for saving their life. That's happened so many times in my career. That's what we need to do. We can't allow this, right? When you have policies like that, you attract people from all over the country. And that's why we've seen this big influx. It wasn't like this when I was growing up in the 70s. Wasn't like this when I was raising my kids in the 80s and 90s. It's gotten worse, way worse. And we can't allow it. I went through Olympia not too long ago. We had some events down in that area. And that's where I lived and worked for over 20 years when I was running my own business. I ran it right out of Olympia. And it wasn't like it is now. I'll tell you that much. It's disgusting, and it's sad. It's sad that people are even living like that, and the government is allowing it. That's got to be fixed. You know, I went through a treatment facility down in Longview, and they used to take mostly state funding, but with that state funding comes the state rules, and they had to be a zero threshold entry program where people could come and go as they please, very lax rules, but they weren't getting a very high success rate. In fact, it was single-digit success rates. And the board of directors got together, and they didn't like what was going on. You know, they started this business, this shelter, to help the community because so many people were ended up on the street stuck in addiction. And so the board of directors got together, and they completely changed their format. They quit taking mostly state funding. They're mostly funded by local businesses and individual donors in the area. And they've made up their own rules, their own parameters, and they now have a locked door with security guard and security cameras. They have mental health professionals. They have drug addiction counselors, and they've got a daycare for family units when mom or dad are going to counseling or going out to their job or looking for a job. And they've gone from single-digit success rate to 76% success. That is really helping people. Right? When they totally changed the rules and quit taking most of the state funding, they got that kind of success. And it's because of the stupid rules that are in place when you take state funding to run one of these facilities. But like I alluded to a little bit ago, that's the homeless industrial complex, right? Millions and millions of our tax dollars go to organizations, especially in King County, Seattle, that study this, that have very little results to show for it. And they turn right around after getting millions and millions of taxpayer dollars, and they donate to the Democrat Party and to Jay Inslee's campaign. That's sad. Not helping people. It's all about the funding. Well, I think we've studied everything to death, right? I hate studies because it wastes money. And it's a way for politicians to get money donated to their campaign from their friends. It's a way to support their friends and their donors. And that's gonna cease. We need to help people. There's plenty of money to do it. And I want to take that model that they have down in Longview, and I want that all across this state so that we quit wasting taxpayer dollars and actually help people. That's what the government's there for. Protect citizens' rights and help the citizens of Washington State. And that's what it will be when I'm governor. And then you add to that fact the mental health crisis part of it. The current governor lost the certification from the federal government for Western State Hospital after being warned about that many times. They didn't fix the problems. So lost certification from the federal government. Along with that went millions and millions of dollars that were coming to Washington State for mental health. I know from dealing with this in person that when someone tries to take their life, when they're having a mental crisis, police officers all across the state, every day, every night, take that person to a local hospital to get help, right? Especially someone that's taken their life or trying to take their life. That person definitely needs care. They need help. So I've done this many times. You take them to the hospital, they meet with a first level mental health counselor, and that person determines, yes, this person needs a higher level of care. So they get on the phone, and sometimes they spend hours on the phone calling facilities to try to find a bed for this person to get some help, a higher level of help. And 9 times out of 10, there is not a bed available anywhere in this state. That person's just turned right back out on the street. That's sad. It's very sad. It's heartbreaking. When you get a call from kids calling 911 that their mom or dad just tried to kill themselves or is in the process of doing that, and you show up and you take that person to the hospital for care, there should be care available. They shouldn't be sent right back out on the street or sent home. That's sad. We're not doing what we need to do, and it's a total failure on the part of Jay Inslee. So those are the things I wanted to talk about today. We can get those things turned around, right? We can support our family farms, our dairies, our orchardists, our ranchers. We can have the government agencies helping them get to a yes. We can have facilities that help people that are stuck in addiction and mental health. We can get people off the street. We can get them the help that they need. We just have to make it a priority. And I don't care about campaign donations. I don't care about helping friends out with large contracts. We need to fix this. And I'll get to work on fixing that right away. I want to thank you all for your support. I want to thank you for all the donations that you've made to the campaign. We are running TV ads like crazy. It's amazing. And the left is scared. Jay Inslee has spent almost $4 million in the last couple of weeks running TV ads. They see what's going on. They know that we have a commanding lead. We need to fight like we're 10 points behind right up until Election Day. Please make sure that you share content, whether it's on our YouTube channel, on Twitter, or on Facebook. We, the people, are going to win this. We are going to take back this state from the far left. We are going to help people that need help. We are going to free our farmers, free our small businesses, and get our children back to school. Thank you, guys. 5 days. 5. We got this. We will send common sense to Olympia, and we will lead Washington's comeback. If you've already voted, type done in the comments or voted. Let me know. Thank you, guys. God bless Washington State, and may God bless you and your family. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.